Several church leaders, including the Holy Father, attended Saturday's funeral mass for Cardinal George Pell. A large crowd, including several of the Cardinal's family members from Australia, attended the service inside of St. Peter's Basilica. In his homily, Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re called Cardinal Pell a man of God and a man of the Church who was deeply concerned by the weakening of faith in the world. Cardinal Pell died last week following hip surgery. He was 81 years old. Joining us now from Rome is Andreas Thonhauser, EWTN Vatican Bureau Chief. Andreas, great to see you as always. Can you tell us about the funeral on Saturday?
Sure. So the funeral mass of Cardinal Pell took place last Saturday here in Rome. It was a solemn celebration, I can say, and hundreds of mourners participated in this mass at the altar of the chair in St. Peter's Basilica. The mourners were included the Australian ambassador to the Holy See, Chiara Porro, many members of the Roman Curia, and the Cardinal's family. Cardinal Re, who is the Dean of the College of Cardinals, presided over the Mass. Pope Francis later then also attended and performed the rite of final commendation for the former Archbishop of what was first Melbourne, and then he was the Archbishop of Sydney. In his homily, Cardinal Re remembered Pell as a man of God and a man of the Church. He also said that the outspoken prelate had a strong character that at times could appear harsh. And this suggestion could be attributed to the fact that Cardinal George Pell was not afraid to openly address things, as we know. This was also, Tracy, part of other news around his funeral this weekend. The English weekly The Spectator published posthumously a commentary by Pell about the current situation of the Church, in which the Australian prelate openly criticized the current synod of synodality. Also this weekend, the Italian Vaticanista Sandro Magister revealed that an anonymous so-called memorandum circling the Roman Curia for quite a while now can be assigned to Pell. In this article, the author heavily criticizes the certain aspects of the current pontificate.
And what more do we know about Cardinal Pell's article? What can you tell us?
So the commentary he wrote for The Spectator was published posthumously, but I would like to explain that it was actually not intended that way. The editors of the weekly made sure also to mention that Cardinal Pell intended this piece to be published around this time, and everyone, including the Cardinal himself, obviously were taken by surprise and the sudden passing of the Cardinal. This means that he was prepared to face the consequences of his criticism as well. Now, Cardinal Pell focused in this piece on the Synod of Synodality, and he called it, and I quote, a toxic nightmare. The working document that the Synod presented last year as the result of a global consulting, of a global listening phase, he titled to be one of the most incoherent documents ever sent out from Rome. In particular, he mentioned that because of differences of opinion on abortion, contraception, the ordination of women to the priesthood, and homosexual activity, some felt that no definitive positions on these issues, and I quote again, can be established or proposed. This is also true of other issues such as polygamy, divorce, and remarriage. Now, Cardinal Pell called the document being hostile to the apostolic tradition. And he also mentioned the relator general of the Synod, which of course is Cardinal Jean-Claude Hollerich by name, writing that he has publicly rejected the basic teachings of the Church on sexuality on the grounds that they contradict modern science.
And Andreas, quickly, before I let you go, has there been any response from Vatican officials to this article?
So we have not seen or also not received any reactions to that. Of course, we are in contact. We've reached also out before this was published to the Synod of Bishops to understand a little bit how Cardinal Pell's statements are being received. And but in general, we can say that Cardinal Pell's statements reflect a widely shared concern that the global synod, a little bit like the German synodal path, is being hijacked by someone or by some to promote their ideological agenda. Of course, we should remember also Cardinal Greg's words, and he's the prelate responsible for the synodal process, that the only one, he said, who will be allowed to hijack the synod is the Holy Spirit.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Andreas. We appreciate it as always. Andreas Thonhauser, EWTN Vatican Bureau Chief.